possession of the ball game. 4 down front. And here's Lowe. He's going to have the first down. He's going to have a touchdown as he walks down the sideline to pay dirt. Kyle Lowe on 4th and 4. Finally, the Lions convert and put 6 points on the board. Extra point all the way. Great play call by Anthony Silva.
Well, hey everybody, welcome to an edition of Southeastern Sports Network podcast for week 3 as we prepare for the college football season. Mark, when this airs next week for fans, we will be, maybe 48 hours or so, depending on when it gets out from the first game of the college football season for Southeastern. I think this week 0 thing, something we've never done before. I know many teams have played on week 0. It's kind of become a thing over the last few years, and more like 5 or 6 years now. Mark, there's been some week 0 games in college football. We've never been part of that, but doing it this year, all of FCS football, and then we're getting that Thursday night game. So I think Alan said it best last week. We're playing about as early as you possibly can in the college football season with the Thursday night game at home against Houston Christian. So it's coming faster. I mean, to play football this early in August is definitely had some August games in the past, but never this early, Mark.
Yeah, we obviously, I think last year actually started early, just happened to be early in the calendar, the way it worked. But when you kick off fall camp in July, it's always a little bit weird, right? It's hot. Yeah. Comes right after media day, and you jump right into camp. We were the first Southland team, or one of the first couple to jump into, obviously HCU being the other, and a couple others also playing on Thursday night. But 12 game seasons now, and the FCSs are permanent, and being able to play week 0 obviously makes sense. And
will we always play week 0, Mark? Go with the 12 game season?
I think going forward, we probably will. I would think we would. I don't know why we would. I think the league's going to play conference games that first week.
Absolutely. Mark wearing his 90.9 The Lion gear.
Yeah.
That's a good looking hat, Mark. I know Dr. Damon Sunday supplied you with that. It's a good looking. I like it. Looks good.
A good doctor stopped, was right next door, and was on his way home, and I was out in the front yard. He stopped, gave me the hat, and we're ready to roll. So I thought I'd rock it tonight on the podcast.
Yeah, it looks good. I like it. It's been a great job by him taking that over. Damon, obviously a long colleague. You and I go way back with Damon, doing football games with him, for 20 years ago on this network. And so he's taken over KSLU, taking over the radio broadcasting department in the university, and doing great things with it. Actually, I don't know why it was on. 90.9 was on, and got good music on there. So it's a really cool listen for Line fans in and around Hammond. So go support those guys, those students who do an incredible job putting those things on. And Damon does a great job running that station now for the university.
Well, Damon's one of the best in the business, and him taking over what was formerly KSLU now is just called 90.9 The Lion. And, it's served its purpose over the years, obviously training, broadcast students in the art of radio over the years, going back to the 1970s. Ron Nethercutt was longtime station manager who I got my start in radio with Dr. Nethercutt, who used to be a band director and ran KSU for a long time. And of course, the format was always more opera, metropolitan opera, and that sort of thing, jazz. And of course, Damon's taken it into the 21st century. It's more mainstream music, but a lot of sports activity on the channels, on the station as well. So he welcomes a lot of different broadcasts for sports, podcasts, that sort of thing. Obviously Southeastern driven, and has done a great job with it. Need to get him on again. We had him on before. Need to get him back on again.
Absolutely. Well, Mark, camp is rolling along, and I saw something. I meant to mention this last week, but I know they had to feed the players, which was former Lions come back. I think they did that not this past Saturday, but the Saturday before that, the second Saturday there in August. To annual tradition that's been going back a long way. They kind of set up a big buffet and tables in the parking garage there, by the Strawberry Stadium parking area, and they feed the team. I know a lot of former players do. I was talking to a couple of former players, said they had like 36 former players come back to help put that on, and that is way more than they ever get, way more than they ever need. He said they usually need about said, they can get 10 to 12 people. They can make it work every year. He said they usually get about 15, 16 guys to help out, former players that come back. They had 36 people show up that Saturday to be a part of it. And so it ended up being a lot of guys just kind of reminiscing and laughing and getting to know the new players of the team this year, and getting to have some more one-on-one conversations. But obviously to make sure they feed them, and they usually do barbecue chicken and sides, and the seniors get steak. This year, someone donated steak for the entire team, so nice ribeyes for the entire team this year. So he was excited about that. So it's always a great thing, Mark, bridging the generations of line football, especially with us, with the gap we have. I mean, the guys on our last team that would have played before the program broke are in their mid to late 50s now, and then there's kind of this gap of people that span over about 20 years. And so it's good to bridge that gap with this event every year. And I know it's really well attended. I know it's well appreciated by the players. I know Coach Selfo pushes forward heavily. So I just wanted to point that out a couple Saturdays ago, that all the former line football players that came out and gave their time and their energy on it's hot. You're out there in I know it's the evening time, but you're standing on concrete under a concrete cover. It's hot, and they gave their time and energy to feed those players and get to know them, and tell how much they appreciate them. So I just wanted to pass that along, for all their hard work doing that event a couple Saturdays ago.
Yeah, it's their way of giving back. The former players, you talked about it. A lot of those guys are probably closer to mid 60s that played in that last era. 1985 was the last season. That would have been my freshman year. I'm 59, so you figure most of those guys.
Yeah, you're right. It's true. Yeah,
older. So it's the feed the team. It's a great event every year. That they love doing it. Like you said, it's their chance to give back. And I know a lot of those guys. Not saying they feel forgotten. But a lot of what we talk about is what's happened in the last 15, 20 years. Really more recent than that. But that's why we like to have former players on. We like to share the greats of the past, that bring them on and honor them, because there was a lot that went on before 2003, and really 1985 was that last year. You had that 17-year gap, and unfortunately, as time passes, fewer and fewer of those guys are able to come back and give back. So the fact that they can be around the new players and share that love and basically set the tone for the players that are playing now, and really the players that played in the last 15 or 20 years, they're going to be the guys giving back. So you have to pass that torch. And unfortunately, you had that 17-year gap in between that, is lost time. It's lost time. It's lost alums. It's lost, honors of guys that could have been All-Americans, guys that could have had great seasons here, maybe playoff seasons. It's just it's an empty wall somewhere that just doesn't have anything on it, and that represents that empty era. So when they can come back and give back, it's always great.
Well, Mark, I think that's a special thing, and I know you see more and more guys that I covered as an early broadcaster who played in the 2007 to 2014 range that are, returning back and coming with their families and being part of the tailgate, the Former Players Association. I know they talk about Andre Cryer as never misses a game, barbecues, everything else. So so that's the turnover. I know Merrick Lano heavily invested in the LAA as a former player, cares a lot about what's going on, and Brian, plenty of them, and so. I remember seeing Tommy Connors at a game in the COVID year, the springtime, and talked to him for a minute. And he says, coaching high school football, I never get to come to these games. And this spring season has been kind of cool for me. He got to come to 2 home games that year, and he really said, besides a handful, he said, I've been to more this spring season than I have in the last 10 years combined, just by coaching high school football. So good to get those guys back and be a part of it. So just want to pass it along. So Mark, diving into the season, don't know officially, but it seems like Kyle Lowe is going to take the reins in this quarterback position going into the season and be the guy who's going to, lead this team off. Mark, what you saw from him last year in a 50-50 split role, what are you most excited about that he can do for the team in a positive way? And what were maybe his shortcomings last year that you say he's got to get better at doing that for us to have success?
I'd say up front leadership. I mean, he's a natural born leader. I talked about that last week, and that's kind of what he does well. And now that he's going to be the guy, it looks like. Obviously, he's got to maintain and keep that role. I mean, nobody's going to hand it to him, and he's going to have to earn it every week. That's the way Frank Selfo likes to open the competition. But he's such a great leader, and he's gotten more comfortable. He knows now. Again, it's a new offensive coordinator, and things will look a little bit different, more or less the same, but a little bit different. Matt Bergeron's going to put his spin on the offense. He'll try to accentuate what Kyle Lowe does well, what type of personnel they have, and the groupings and that sort of thing. Take advantage of mismatches. But the thing with Kyle Lowe that you want to see him. Obviously it's sitting in a pocket, going through progressions and being able to be consistent. Now, again, here's a guy completed almost 63% of his passes last year for over 800 yards. He had periods where I think he had a couple games where he was perfect, especially in the play action game. And he's shown some ability to attack the middle of the field and down the field as well. But, if he's going to be taking, the majority of the snaps, 50, 60 snaps per ball game and putting the ball up 20, 25, 30 times, he's going to have to be, spot on his game and protect the football. That's something he's going to have to be able to do. And again, he's going to be asked to run the football, I'm sure, and he's going to have to stay healthy. That's the other thing. So the stable of running backs are very, very good. There are some really good young wide receivers on this team, some guys that are a little bit untested or unknown. I think they will become known here shortly once the season starts. Great set of tight ends. We'll talk more about the positions coming up individually, but that's what you're going to see out of Kyle Lowe. And then it looks like, again, I'm not in the coaches' meetings and that sort of thing or whatever, but I would say that Isaac Mooring seems to have stepped up a little bit as possibly the number two. Obviously, you have Cole Welliver. That battle still ongoing on who's going to be the number two guy to get those number two snaps. But it looks like the quarterback room is going to be in good hands, regardless of who it is, because they took a big step yesterday or Saturday in the scrimmage. I didn't get a chance to attend it, but talked to a lot of people who did. Felt much better about the offense on Saturday than that last scrimmage. Defense dominated, but it's going to be interesting.
Mark, a lot of people have been talking to me, and word travels. People get to watch practice and talk to a friend who's been out there, or just people within the department. But everyone that I talked to is correlating with the same narrative that you've had since we started talking a few weeks back. Is that, man, I heard we're really going to be able to run the football well, and just build upon that if you could. And I think you go back to the 2024 season was more so of a team, with one guy, but we had a couple guys in there, but it was really one guy who was doing most of the load that year as a team who just really can run the football. And I've always talked about, like, when you're a team when your opponent knows you're going to run the ball and they still can't stop you, those are the most intimidating teams in football, I think. And we hope to see if that's the case this year, where the Lions, on a 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, they're not afraid to turn it around and hand it off and think they can get those yards.
That's going to start up front, obviously, with the offensive line, and you return Riley Witten at center. Corin Boudreaux is back. He's be a 3-year starter coming back. Riley Witten started last year and played some as a freshman, and then Isaiah Hayes is back. He played a lot last year. He'll slide out to left tackle, and Logan Potter, who was the left tackle last year, looks like he'll move inside at guard. And right now, there's a chance you could see a true freshman starting up front. Now, a couple of things you could do there, but Zach Corrigan, true freshman out of Florida. He's a Canadian kid who comes from Florida, St. Petersburg Catholic High School. Has been very impressive in camp, and he's a big kid. He looks the part, and he's had a great camp. So could see him possibly in the lineup. Another freshman from the same high school, Grayson Zepp, has been impressive. Kedrick Bailey from Zachary, another true freshman, has been really impressive. So it was a really good crop of freshman offensive linemen, and you could see, a couple, two or three of those guys getting a chance to play early this fall, possibly. But again, you got a veteran group coming back, and you starts with those three inside guys, your center and your two guards. They are really good, and they can push the pocket, push the pile, get off the football in the running game. But then it's also the DNA of Matt Bergeron. He comes from UL Lafayette, where they run the football over there, and I think he'll bring a lot of that style with him. But it's going to start your quarterback, obviously Kyle Lowe, and then your four-headed monster in the backfield. DeAndre Jackson's back. Kyrie Paul is a young man who didn't really start playing until the end of the season last year because of an injury, and he flashed heavily. And then, obviously C.J. Smith, ran for over 400 yards. He was that between the tackles guy. He's a lot better. But we've talked about him before. Chad Elsey, a newcomer, is a guy that I think's got a chance to be outstanding in this league and in FCS. He's a difference maker. And again, he's going to remind Lion fans a lot of Antonio Martin. And you're going to see a lot of him carrying the football. And he's not just an inside guy. He can bounce it and take it. But he's, 215, 220 pounds, and just a low center of gravity, great vision, makes outstanding cuts, and he's got home run speed. So you pack all four of those guys in there, and, it's only one football, but, all of them can break it at any time. All of them can carry the ball, get the tough yards, and then you got guys like DeAndre and Kyrie Paul who can catch it out of the backfield and go with it. And so can Elsey. So that's why, and you got good tight ends, and you got they're big guys who can block. And you've got some H backs as well, some fullbacks who are really good in the run blocking game. So you got the personnel to run it, and I think the scheme's going to match. This team's going to throw the football. Don't get me wrong. It's not going to be just a 3 yards in a cloud of dust offense. I mean, they're going to throw it, but really feel good about the running game.
Well, Mark, changing tone a little bit. If fans didn't see, the Lions were picked 20th in the coaches poll in FCS football this year. Came out today. Also, were picked in the stats poll, so ranked in both polls.
19-1, 20-0.
Going into the season,
where things should be right now.
Yeah, I would say so. Just kind of based off of last year's performance and the consistency of Coach Selfa putting a winning product on the field. Coach Selfa only had 2 losing seasons in his time here at Southeastern, so has shown nationally that he can have that consistent football team that can win this league and make it into this. They've been in the playoffs. What now?
Just 4 times.
Yeah, 4 times, and only one of those times getting the automatic bid. So showing national.
Doesn't count the COVID year when you played a de facto playoff game against Southern Illinois, because had they not played that game, they're probably in. Southern Illinois ends up winning their way in the playoffs. They got in because Southeastern and Southern Illinois scheduled a game after the regular season before the playoffs because they had that extra date. And,
they took less teams.
Yeah, Southern Illinois won by a touchdown. They ended up going to the playoffs and went far. So Southeastern probably gets that spot had they chose not to play. And it was a competitive game and really, like I said, a de facto playoff game.
Mark, who nationally, I know we'll talk about this as we get into November and December, but who are your teams to watch this year of the buzz coming back? We talked about the Southland last week a little bit, but who are your national teams that you want to keep an eye on that, obviously, the Jackrabbits and the Grizzlies and the Bison are gone. They're not in FCS anymore. Bobcats and Montana State, the cast of characters, usual characters, but who do you see as being a team that, is going to be somebody to reckon with come playoff time at the end of the season?
Well, I think you're going to see a lot of what you saw at the tail end of last year, and it's Montana State's going to be everybody's odds-on favorite to repeat again. That's a good football team that, beat Illinois State in the finals. That was a really competitive game, a game Illinois State had a chance to win and came up short, but they returned a lot. Obviously, the quarterback's back, so that's a very good football team. And no doubt, number one, Montana is going to be solid as well. You look at, Tarleton State's going to, get a lot of love, I think. Villanova just got their quarterback back. You had that ruling by a federal judge that allowed the 2022 grads who have a fifth year eligibility. So there are a lot of guys coming back who weren't expected to play football this year, and they have another year. So the quarterback, Pat McQuaid, used to be the quarterback at Nicholls State. So he'll be at Villanova, so that's going to kind of elevate them. Youngstown State has the reigning Peyton Award winner and Bo Brungard back. They're a good football team. Of course, North Dakota State moves on. UC Davis, a good football team last year. They'll be up there. Lehigh's pretty good. You start going down. Rhode Island's got their quarterback back as well, and a lot of good football players. Abilene Christian looks to be good. Yale out of the Ivy League, I think. You have some Ivies in there, and of course SFA as well. And again, in South Dakota State, obviously, but that looks like that's going to be the pool to choose from as far as where your champion is going to come from. Obviously, Southeastern feels like they're in that mix as well. I think Lamar is going to be good, and UTRGV. Let's not rule those guys out. That's a ready-made program that has a lot of money and fan support and have good players. They brought in some guys. They're going to they feel like they're going to be in the mix as well. So it's going to be very competitive. Everybody talks about when teams leave and move on, like North Dakota State, App State way back when, Georgia Southern left. Everybody says, well, it's going to be a watered down weak FCS, and there's always people to come in and fill. You have your North Dakota States who filled for your App States and then that left. Now they're moving on. Here comes Tarleton State out of D2. Yeah. They've only moved up recently. UTRGV new on the scene. You've got a lot of programs that come in to fill that void. Now you got a West Florida moving up, and West Georgia's just moved up. So somebody always steps in to fill the void, and they're going to elevate because they're going to win. Somebody's going to win. And once you start winning,
people get behind you.
Yeah, people get behind you, the funds, and obviously because Georgia Southern wasn't always Georgia Southern, right? And these programs weren't always the programs they became. And then they move on, and here comes somebody else.
Mark, we didn't talk about this because we didn't do a pod after it, but this goes way back to January. The ESPN coverage of the national championship game was elite for FCS football.
Yeah, this past year was as good as it's ever been.
Because they got the Monday
night stage. Exactly, that's right.
Yep, they had a pregame show, analysts on the field, a college game day look. They covered the game intensely. It ended up being a great football game, but just want to get your thoughts on that. And you think FCS football is starting to, get some more eyeballs and attention? I don't know if it's gambling related, that people just have their eyes on every level of football now.
There's a lot of what goes on now, unfortunately.
Yeah, but just the way that was portrayed on ESPN was beyond impressive to me. It stood out to me. I know we talked about it, you and I and Alan, but talking about it here tonight, I thought that was elite. I'm sure some fans noticed it as well watching that game.
Well, it's always been a great product, FCS football. We know that. We're FCS fans, and I guess you call us diehards, right? We follow it, to the nth. I'll never forget the old joke, 20 years ago when we first started, wanting to know Monmouth score, right? That was always, everybody's SEC country, and we're worried about how did Monmouth do, right? But but all joking aside, the FCS product has always been a great product. It's just how is it packaged and how is it presented to the rest of the country, and obviously it's always had a time slot on ESPN, but it's always been buried on Saturday Saturday afternoon, whatever, with a lot of stuff going on, and the diehards
kind of like a bowl game, kind of like a meaningless bowl game,
right? But now when it's on Monday night and it's on a premium channel, everybody's going to watch it, and they say, oh my gosh, this is really good football. You get great fan bases. You have Montana State there, and it's usually been a great fan base that makes it so the crowd's electric. It's at Vandy this past year. Illinois State had a lot of momentum, kind of a Cinderella story, and had a chance to win the game. So I think people see that, and I think if you go right back just a few years during COVID, when everything's kind of shut down, not everybody's playing, and the Sun Belt had that that window by themselves where they're really the only thing on. You saw the Sun Belt really elevate, if you remember, and they kind of took that and ran with it.
Took that off,
And here comes the JMU moves up, and you had some really good football teams with some passionate fan bases in that league. And where the Sun Belt it was a joke at one point. I mean, obviously there was a joke. Hey, Southern Miss one day is going to wake up in the Sun Belt. Now they are in the
Yeah.
Sun Belt. Now it's a good league.
They're happy to be there.
But it's a good league because instead of going after markets, they went after fan bases. So they went after your App States, your JMUs, your Southern Misses. That's the programs they decided to go after. Coastal Carolina. They didn't go after the big media market, and they were able to grow as a result. In all sports.
South Alabama, good addition. Texas State. Right. So
it's a great baseball league, outstanding baseball league. So I think FCS football can kind of draw from that, and I think the best years are yet to come. And I know, again, everybody says, North Dakota State moved on. Montana's are probably headed out the door next. But again, somebody's going to step up and fill that void.
People watch football if it's good football, no matter.
That's right.
What's going on. So August 27th, Mark, Lions hope their first game of the season against Houston Christian. We'll have our first guest of the season next week, excuse me. And we'll start previewing that game against Houston Christian. Get you ready for the football season, Mark. I'm sure we'll be looking at each other, getting ready for the Riverville Classic game down the road.
It's going to be at the end of the season.
Where did it all go? So,
we said that about 10 years ago.
Yeah, we've always been saying that. So
10 years later.
Now, don't forget, Tuesday night of next week will be the first coaches show. It's not on Monday; it's Tuesday night this week. Coach Self will be with Alan. They're doing an hour and a half on our network stations on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network. So tune in, go to Brady's, check it out. It's going to be a great crowd as always. But they're going for an hour and a half to cover everything that Coach Shelfa wants to talk about leading up into the season. So I think Alan and him will do a great job with that. Coach Shelfa will meet with the media officially the first time next Monday. So look for those clips to come out. That information will be out there. You can follow for the hot tips, what do you call it, Mark? The hot sound bites coming out of Coach Shelfo's opening press conference next Monday with the media.
Some nuggets for.
He always does. So, so keep an eye on that. That'll be a lot. It's all going to be a lot in a short amount of time with this early season on Thursday night. And then you can take a deep breath and have a long 3-day weekend and watch all the Week 0 games Saturday. You can watch. I know I'll be watching the Little League World Series final that Sunday. Then you'll be getting ready for college football the following Thursday, the official opening of the season, and the Lions will play South Alabama on that Saturday. So, Mark, it's going to be a whirlwind as it always is. It'll take off, and then eventually the plane will land at some point, hopefully in January for the Lions in the national championship. Be a little Southern Illinois,
be awesome.
Illinois State love, and take it all the way.
But just to kind of get back to real quick to the Southland run, it's going to be a tough run. I think the league's going to be better. I think it's improved.
I do too.
Obviously, SFA brings a lot back and have gone out and got some stuff. Lamar's going to be good. We talked about UTRGV. I think McNeese will be improved, and I think
a lot of it just.
You look at Nichols' roster, looks good. I think Northwestern State's going to be better. HCU,
going to be better.
Yeah, they're going to be better. So I mean, everybody's coming to get the big boys, and nobody's going to lay back and sit back and take it. And you got to go out this week and win.
I think that this league is right now with a bunch of schools that want to invest in football, want to have success in football, and they're doing what they can with the NIL programs, facilities. I know Northwestern just opened a new building on campus by the football stadium. So
$2 or $3 million upgrade to their locker room.
Yep. So Southeastern doing it as well. Trying to make them. And UIW is always tough. They always have players. So
didn't mean to disregard them. They just got their linebacker back, Declan Williams, who was all conference All American. So he's in that extra year deal. So I just saw that he's coming back. So they're excited about that. But take your hat off, though. You talked about investment. Take your hat off to Dr. Wainwright, J.R. Teagues, the community. Guys are starting to get it and rally around and doing what they can to invest and make sure this program has what it needs to succeed. Obviously, not all the way there yet. Still a long way to go there. But you get the facilities coming on. There's a lot of exciting stuff kind of in the works behind the scenes. And then obviously able to keep players here. I think that was key, and to get some guys in here. And I think it speaks highly of Dr. Wainwright and obviously the athletic administration.
Absolutely. Mark, great job as always. We will talk to you next week. It gets set for football Thursday night, August 27th, Strawberry Stadium, 6 o'clock. HCU comes to town to kick off the 2026 college football season nationally and for your Southeastern Lions. So it should be a lot of fun. For Mark Wilby, up here saying thanks for watching. Good night. We'll talk to you next week. We're getting set for football. It's from here on out, football all the way, taking you into hopefully the month of December and January with your Lions. Thanks for watching. Talk to you next week.